I was an assistant DA before I was the elected prosecutor. And as a brand new lawyer in the DA's office, the most dreaded assignment was juvenile court. Part of the reason was you worked with social workers to remove children from homes, mainly on a temporary basis, to rehabilitate the family if you could, but sometimes permanently because there had been physical abuse or a regular cycle of neglect. And I was overwhelmed at the awesome responsibility of an entity removing children from their parents, even temporarily, much less permanently. But then I saw some of these children were being so neglected and so mistreated in cycles over and over again that it had to happen. So I get elected DA. I'm coming into the DA's office, sworn in. My goal, pretty much first priority, was to get assistant DAs that were okay working with social workers, that were okay working with investigators to kind of stop some of the abuse that was going on.
I was the, I think, third or fourth prosecutor in that year. A couple, stepped in for a month or two, and it wasn't really something they were interested in. Judge Susan Moquin and I probably were the longest serving prosecutors, at least at that time.
We started reviewing more and more cases of child sexual abuse. And so I stumbled upon the case of Tina, whose grandmother brought her to me, and they'd been to the hospital, to the DHR agency, to law enforcement, and then were referred to me. And I said, the system's got to work better than this. So I was motivated to try to change the system if I could, and that's what I set out to do. So we started this ball rolling, but it couldn't have been done without a team.
Bud was newly elected, and he was concerned about the increased number of child abuse cases he was seeing coming through the court system. So he wanted to put together a community task force to examine the problem and how could we get the kids through the court system better.
So it was the obvious. The head of DHR, the police chief assigned someone, sheriff assigned someone, or come himself. Pediatricians, prominent ones, we knew some that had been involved in some of the cases. Let's invite them to come to the table. And they came enthusiastically. The Junior League came enthusiastically.
So I went to the first task force meeting.
Task force meeting, March 22nd, 1984.
We reenacted an actual case, and we realized that child was being abused as much by the system as by the alleged perpetrator. One day, I remember saying, what are we going to do? And he said, I don't know, but if we don't do something, no one else will.
We need people to specialize. I need to be able to fund an investigator that can coordinate what the police are doing, the sheriff's doing, the social workers are doing, my lawyers are doing.
But we said we need a neutral facility, and multidisciplinary team is essential. People have to talk to each other. And again, we have to train people how to talk to children.
But everyone had to learn a role beyond just what they were doing in many years past.
What we're all doing is very difficult in the sense that we are pulling agencies together that aren't necessarily used to meeting together and discussing the kind of things that we're discussing.
What you remember most is your days at the Little House on Lincoln Street, and the team meetings. We learned how to implement the multidisciplinary approach, and were able to a certain extent to perfect some of the process so that we could help others across the nation.
When you look, there are now children's advocacy centers in every state and 43 countries or 41 countries. That's amazing. It's really pretty overwhelming.
Do you ever stop and think about how many children's lives changed for the better or saved because of your tenacity, because of your drive, because of your vision?
That's too awesome for me to process.